Hey guys, it's Elizabeth, Finding Elizabeth, and I cannot believe I still don't have my voice back. What did you guys do to me in Chicago? I didn't talk that much, did I? Anyway, this is my one day late, week 101. Hold on, I want to sit back a little bit. Week 101 post-op vertical sleeve gastrectomy update. Yeah, don't know how much this is going to have to do with weight loss surgery. Some, for sure, but I think my focus may be more on mental health today. So I weighed yesterday, but I didn't do it till like noon or 1 o'clock after I'd already eaten and drank and blah, blah, blah. So my weight my weight yesterday was 208.6. I think I didn't take notes and I don't have my numbers from last week in front of me, but I think it was 208, and I blame that on water retention from flying, etc., etc. But maybe that's not it, considering the fact that it was 208.6 this week. But whatever, it is what it is. And I didn't weigh this morning. So anyway, not a huge difference. But I'm still hovering around for the last several months, around 200 pounds lost from my highest weight, which was 402.2 pounds, I think. 402.2. Who cares? A lot. It was a lot, and I'm half that size now, and I'm glad. So what's been going on with me? I went into a real funk the last couple of days that seemed to be both mental and physical. And it has caused me to do some thinking and reflecting on just a lot of different things in my life. So in general, in terms of mental health, I have suffered depression pretty much my whole life. I didn't start medicating for that until about, 10 to 12 years ago when I was put on an antidepressant. I take Wellbutrin, which is a different kind of, and I don't even remember it now, but it works in a different way than some of the other antidepressants. It's more of an activating agent, and it also, which was one of the reasons they put me on it in the first place, was because unlike some other antidepressants, it doesn't make you gain weight. Didn't make me lose weight, but so I've been on that for a long time, and it was really important for me when I first went on it. It helped me make some changes in my life that I probably would not have made otherwise. So I've been on that pretty consistently, but sometimes I get a little lax in taking it, and that generally happens around when I'm traveling. I probably got a little lax in taking it while I was at the meet and greet, and I was lax in taking it over the week since I got back. So that's part of it. I have been in therapy forever. I've mentioned this many times before. I did maybe, I guess it was like 5 years ago, because it started. My son's dad died in October of 2005. No, 2010. Yeah, he died in October of 2010, and I had committed to do psychoanalysis for a year to be someone's case study who was an MSW but was going to become a psychoanalyst beginning in January of 2011. So for 1 year, which was a very important year for me, because that was the time when I was dealing with the grief around losing someone who had been, very important to me for about 20 years. So that was 4 days a week psychoanalysis, laying on the couch, the whole thing you see in the, in the stereotypical analyst thing. It was super, super, super hard. I have, often at times, joked that I liked therapy because it's sort of where I get to, I felt, before I did psychoanalysis, I felt like I was entertaining somebody, and I could come up with enough to entertain somebody for 50 minutes a week, because my life can be interesting I don't know if you guys have noticed that or not, but anyway. Anyway, with psychoanalysis, and I had seen this person for probably 2 years before we started the psychoanalysis twice a week. So she was familiar with me. But that psychoanalysis was really, really hard, because when you're seeing somebody 4 days a week, you run out of things to say. You run out of entertaining things to say, and you start getting down to brass tacks. It was a really crucial and important thing for me. I don't think I would be where I am in my life now without it. I don't think I would have gotten weight loss surgery without it. I certainly don't think I would be as happy at 50 as I am now, even though I'm going to be bitchy and whiny and depressed in this video. In general, I'm, very happy with my life. And I don't think that could have happened without that. So I stopped therapy on a really regular basis after weight loss surgery. And I know there was part of me that was like, oh, that might be kind of stupid. But it felt like, everything was good. Everything was going well. I didn't have that much to talk about. I wasn't dealing with any of the head game things that other people seem to deal with. But then fast forward to what I think was like my 18 months post-op, which was when I really started to engage in relationships with men and to really sort of put myself out there from a social perspective even more than I had before. And I went from, a period of maybe almost 10 years of having really very limited social activity in my life. I did whatever I could to avoid people. I'm surprised I have friends left out of my non-weight loss surgery life, because for years they asked me to do stuff and I said no, or made excuses or whatever. So anyway, huge kind of shift in my life. I decided that I needed to go back on a more regular basis, probably, I think in November. I think when I got back, I did a string of travel from September to the beginning of November, where I was gone a lot. I think once I came back in November, I decided to at least go back to therapy once a week, which is what I have been doing. So and I mainly, the focus of my therapy now has been about my relationship and just understanding how to deal and show up in a relationship that both I'm very different, the relationship is very different, trying to change the patterns of my past. I mean, that's really been the focus of therapy. And I think like the very first time I went back to therapy was the week that I was going, the week that I met the person that I am dating, in November. So, anywho, but in general, overall, I feel great most of the time. I do tend to have like a little bit of a, let me see how many minutes we are. I don't want this to go on it's probably going to go on forever. Generally been in a pretty good place. I do tend to have like a meet and greet letdown. And I just sort of realized this week how all that's sort of tied together with the other stuff. I didn't feel like I had that so much this time after Chicago. I was a little down the day I was coming back, in the morning of the day I got home, but then it was fine. I was over it. I was moving on. I was getting back to work and everything. So come Sunday afternoon, the person I'm dating, I don't know why I don't want to say my boyfriend. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, Mr. X was here, and he left Saturday around noon. Or Sunday around noon, I mean. And after he left, I found myself getting really, really sad and depressed. And there was no real reason, based on the time we had spent together or whatever, that I should be anything but in a good mood. But I wasn't, and I just felt like a deep depression coming on, and felt just like horrible yesterday. Really, really sad. Really. Oh, and here's the other thing. So, okay, I don't usually buy a ton of groceries unless he's coming. I'll, buy a couple things at the grocery store, but I was realizing the other day, Friday, when I went to the grocery store, so I was carrying bags and bags up the stairs. It's like, I hardly ever do this. Why is that? It's like, oh, I only go grocery shopping like this when he's coming, because I want to have stuff for him to eat, and I like to cook for him and things like that. So, I also buy, when he's coming, I buy food that I don't usually have in the house. Like this time that would have been ice cream and potato chips. Well, we didn't eat any ice cream and potato chips while he was here. And it's interesting how that's usually the case. We may have a little bit of ice cream or something. He may eat a little bit of it, but not much, and then it's left for me. So this depression is coming up on Sunday, and what do I find myself doing? On Sunday and Monday, pretty much my diet consisted of ice cream and potato chips. Yeah. Finally, Monday at like noon, I threw those things, what was left of that, away. I mean, the good point is, I guess, like before, I could have eaten all the ice cream and potato chips in one night. But Anyway, and I didn't weigh in the morning because I just knew I was going to have a high weight. But in the afternoon, I was like, I have to. I'm going to make a video. And I literally thought that I'm going to step on the scale and I'm going to weigh 230, 240 pounds. Okay, that's kind of crazy. Yes, crazy? I think so. But I didn't wait. But I did weigh 208.6, which is exactly what I weighed last week, which was a gain significantly over the last couple of weeks because I hit Wonderland when Lindsay was here. So I went to therapy, and usually that makes it better, and initially it did make it better, but I was talking to my therapist about, I don't understand why it is how when he leaves, because I realized that it happened the last several times, except for the time that he was here over my birthday when Lindsay and Jamie were here. I didn't have this feeling then, but the other times when he would leave, I would get this depression that was not, could not be tied to anything that had happened between us. And I also didn't get it when I left his house. It was only when he left here. So my therapist, who knows everything about me from like the get-go, because I've been seeing her forever, reminded me that I have some really, really huge abandonment issues in my life by parents and grandparents. And it's not always that they abandoned me, but that I was taken away from them, or even men, of course. And I even had a therapist, the first therapist that I was very, very close to when, I was in my 30s because Ian was already born when I was seeing this person, who with a day's notice basically told me he was moving to another state. So a lot of abandonment in my past. And she said, I really think that that's what this has to do with, is your feelings of abandonment and your sense that when somebody leaves, this sense of emptiness that you have. And I thought, oh, well, that kind of relates to the meet and greets too, even though I'm leaving, but there's like the sense of I'm never going to see these people again, which is like ridiculous, both with Brian and with, my weight loss surgery friends. And she started talking about this emptiness, and I hadn't even told her about what I was eating yet. I was going to tell her, but then we were talking about this feeling of emptiness, and she's like, well, you used to feel that with food, and now you feel it with some other behaviors that I don't want to talk about here, but things that I do sort of compulsively when I'm in that space. And I'm like, well, yeah, I sort of do it with food too, because that's the only time that I'm going to eat really, really crappy junk food. So had this awareness, left and was feeling okay. And then last night I just started feeling horrible about it, because it's like, okay, this is something I have absolutely no control over. Because, he's not doing anything wrong that is making me feel like, I'm never going to see him again. If I go to a meet and greet, my friends aren't doing anything wrong that's making me feel like I'm never going to see them again. That wasn't even a conscious thought, but as soon as she said it, I was like, oh yeah, that's totally it. But so if it's something that is not realistic in terms of the people and situations in your life, but it's something that's so deep-seated inside of you, what the fuck? What do you do? I do not want to feel like this every time somebody who's important to me leaves when I know I'm going to see them again. So that was fucking with my head too. And then today I also started thinking about, and this actually helped me get out of it a little bit, but I also started thinking, I was thinking about this last night, how much I have stopped doing things that are for me and that are important to me over this period of time, pretty much from November, December until now. And I think part of that is because my mind gets so occupied with fear over losing relationships, that sort of occupies everything in my mind, and I put everything on, just everything in the back burner. And I was listening to one of the lectures from someone who I listen to a lot and who's sort of a spiritual teacher to me, Marianne Williamson. I don't know if you're familiar with her. She lectures on A Course in Miracles. She has a really amazing book called A Return to Love. And when I'm in a really down place, I like to listen to her because she usually says something that kind of puts it all in perspective to me. And the thing she was talking about was how you're never going to not be in a graspy place with relationships until you realize that everything you need is inside yourself, and you're not going to find that from anyone else. And how you sort of like, this isn't exactly how she said it, but it's how I thought of it. If you put putting the oxygen mask on yourself before you put it on your children. But it's like you have to be taking care of your own business and doing the things that feed you before you can show up non-neurotically in relationships. And so I started thinking today and actually made a list of all the areas in which I was not just not doing what I'm supposed to do, but not taking care of business or doing things that were important to me. And much of that was around weight loss surgery. I mean, I haven't been tracking my food. I haven't been tracking my protein. I haven't been exercising. I haven't been walking. I haven't been taking my vitamins. Okay, guys? I mean, I have not been doing any of this stuff that I'm supposed to do. And in addition, there are things related to my job. There are things related to relationships with other people where I'm not showing up in a way that makes me feel good. And I'm not doing things like go walk on the beach, which makes me feel really good and full. So I pretty much eliminated all these things from my life. So I came up with this huge list of things. It's like, okay, that's going to make me feel even worse that I have all these things that I haven't been doing. But actually it didn't. It actually gave me a little bit of perspective and prioritizing on what I need to be doing. So I started tackling some of those things today. Of course, I feel much better. I took a long walk on the beach, which I haven't done in a really long time. And that is very... I don't know, energizing and calming for me. So, and what does this all have to do with weight loss surgery? I don't know. And thank you for listening this long. I'm going to try to wrap it up. But what it has sort of brought to mind, we had Dr. Katzen on The Naked Truth last week, and he said something that really kind of bugged me, as Amy noticed and commented on in a text to me the next day. There was a part where he was saying that you can expect like a lap band to work for 22 months after you have it. And with the sleeve, you can expect it to work for 10 months. I'm like, what do you mean 10 months? 10 months, even if you have, hundreds and hundreds of pounds to lose? And that made me feel really anxious because it's like, okay, I'm coming up on 2 years. I mean, April, 15th, 14th, 15th will be 2 years since my surgery. So today I went and looked to see how much weight I've lost since my 10-month surgery, and I've lost like 30 pounds. So, that's not nothing, right? But I mean, the honest to God truth is if I don't focus on this, I'm not going to get to where I want to go. And Amy had also asked me the other day if I felt like I had plateaued and wasn't losing any weight, would I have plastic surgery now? And the answer is yes. If I felt that I had truly plateaued, if I was doing everything that I was supposed to do and my weight had plateaued, would I have plastic surgery now? Yeah, sure. I mean, I've seen before and afters that Dr. Katzen has posted of people who I feel like have way more weight left to lose than I do. So anyway, I also watched Jennifer Bleacher's video where she kind of said, I'm pulling out all the stops until Nashville to see where I get, and then wherever I am, then I'm going to stop. I don't know necessarily that I'm going to stop then, but I am going to pull out all the stops between here and Nashville and see what happens. I mean, I want to continue to try to lose weight until I naturally plateau when I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. So what are the things that I'm committing to? And I usually don't like doing this because I don't like trying to set goals that are like overwhelming with all these things that I have to do. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to exercise 3 times a week with Brandon strength training. I'm going to walk twice a week. I am going to track my food. I'm going to get 60 to 80 grams of protein a day. I am going to drink at least 64 ounces of water. I am going to take my vitamins and calcium. And I am not going to have any alcohol unless I have met my protein and water goals for the day. I can't have any alcohol. So no more mimosas on Sunday mornings, people. So that's sort of what I've set my mind to. I'm going to do that. I started today. I'm going to do that between now and Nashville and see where I'm at and really push it through. So anyway, I cannot thank you guys enough. You don't know how much you mean to me. I can't tell you how many texts I've gotten from people asking me today if I was okay, and yesterday asking me if I was okay. And I really, even if I don't feel like talking about it, which I'm a big processor, and sometimes I have to process this stuff in my head, or sometimes I don't want to talk to somebody when I feel like if I start talking about it, I'm going to start crying. But you guys know who you are who reached out to me, and it just means the world to me, because there were many, many years when, number one, I wouldn't let people know I was in not a good place, and number two, there wasn't anybody to reach out to me to see how I was. So I appreciate you guys so much. I love you, and I hope you have a great week, and I will see you next week. All right, talk to you later. Bye.